come in from Oakland County to buy drugs and come off of 75 and come through these neighborhoods. And, this has been an area that has had a far more than its share of violence for a long time, and we need to deal with it. But the first thing we need to deal with it is clean out these houses. We got an area not too far from here. They had a series of arsons. Finally, somebody came to the police and said, you know why we got all these arsons? This is our drug territory, and every time somebody moves into one of these abandoned houses to sell out of, we light it on fire. I mean, these are the kinds of things we're dealing with in too many neighborhoods. So we're gonna, hope you're gonna help me next March. We're gonna put this bond issue on the ballot to wipe out every abandoned house in the city in the next 5 years. And I just think it'll allow people to do the kind of great stuff, the kind of beautification you're doing here. The feds funded $265 million in demolition to let us take down 19,000 houses. I'm really grateful for that. But they only allowed us to demolish in neighborhoods that were 70% or more occupied. Right. So a neighborhood like this, we couldn't get to. And that was just fundamentally unfair. Now we're switching over to city funding. And so now we're in here, right. And we can do this because we don't have those restrictions. But we are also, for the first time, knocking down houses in neighborhoods where we're taking down 4, 5, 6 houses a block. We haven't dealt with the question.
That's my block.
Right, so we haven't dealt with the question, what do we do when we have that much land? Because in the other neighborhoods, we've sold 13,000 side lots. So I don't know who lives right there, but if they want, they'll be able to buy that lot for $100 and put a swing set on it or a garden in it or fence off that. So if there's a neighbor next door, we sell the lot to the neighbor for $100. And if you're the next door neighbor and there's 3 lots in a row, you can buy 3 lots if you want for $300. And you can build. We've had people who've put 4 and 5 lots together and made really nice yards. It becomes a family gathering place and the like. But we also are going to have stretches, as you can see, where there's nobody next door. And we'll come through and cut the grass at 4 times a year. But if you want to say we want a community garden, we want a community play area, whatever you want for your community, we'll support you. So we're letting every neighborhood kind of drive the planning on the vacant land. The land bank now owns 92,000 parcels of land. And so we can't make 92,000 plants. And so we decided rather than us try to do it, within reason, we support what the neighbors want. We've got some neighborhoods where they've wanted off-street parking. We've got some neighborhoods where they put in some basketball courts because they didn't want the kids going to the park that was out of their line of sight. We basically are just supportive of what you want to do.
With our efforts of keeping it clean, living up to our block club name, we would like to keep these lots clear. We've recently been working with Go Cutters, the gentleman in orange here, and they do a really excellent job of cutting not only this block, but several other blocks in the community for several streets. And again, as I had mentioned earlier, when we have grass that is maintained, it really keeps down the rodents. So what I'd like to do with the space over here is, in working with the land bank, we are working with becoming a community partner. However, I'd like to take my nonprofit efforts and to focus on other properties that are outside of the side lot eligibility. So we purchased 4 lots from the land bank that are adjacent to our property there. However, we've not been able to pick up the additional 5 vacant lots there, but we have maintained the berms and the lots.
So look, can we walk down and look?
Absolutely. We've transformed it into the community garden. We've got a mix of zinnias and cosmos, and the neighbors and the community residents, they come over here and help themselves to zucchini, 8 different varieties of tomatoes, cucumbers, and a variety of herbs such as basil, sage, cilantro, tarragon.
Cilantro, really?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, so what we're going to be doing is we've been transforming this area. You can see the wood chips that we've been applying here to kind of regenerate the soil, if you will, as well as adding our compost.
How did you learn all this?
A lot of reading, Mr.
Really? Okay.
The one here, this one's going through the land bank site for purchase for $1,000.
Yeah, I was going to say, that one looks like it could be saved.
So with
but
that,
you just didn't want to be next door to the other one.
Definitely not.
What we don't want to do is put the houses in the hands of somebody who doesn't have the resources to fix them up. So they try to make sure as best we can. But, we should be taking your lead here because you're doing exactly what I'm asking folks to do, which is to step up and take the leadership in their own neighborhood. So you come to us and you say, here's who I am, here's what I'm thinking. If it is your area right here where you live, we tend to support it. Now, if somebody from over at on Chalmers comes over here and says, I want to buy 6 lots in this neighborhood, you say, wait a minute. In many cases, they're trying to speculate so that if a new housing development comes in, they can sell it for a lot of money. So we try not to sell to people who are just going to hold up development. We try to put it in the hands of people who are invested. But by and large, we defer to the people who live right there because we figure you have the greatest stake.
Right.
And so we're going to work with you on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Keep doing what you're doing, and I will be back. All right?